ebooks, right? We'll be going through the ebooks, and then I will be doing a compo reading, okay, meaning that I will be annotating the compos, and the compos will be from our ebook, so you guys can have a rough understanding of what we are giving you guys in our ebooks. And also we will have a chance to go through some questions. So if right now, if there are any students, well, let's say you guys are struggling, let's say you guys are struggling a bit with certain areas of your composition, maybe your grammar, your vocab, or your structure, you guys can let me know and I will do my best to help you guys. Okay, we can go through it all together, and I'll answer as many questions as I can. All right. Okay, yeah, so that's about it that we're gonna do for this composition reading. And right now I will be going through some ebooks. Okay, you guys can always see the banner that we are looking at right here above me. Okay, we have this banner over here that says our ebooks. Okay, I will be moving the screen a bit so you guys can see. All right. All right, to start off, we have the PSLE model composition booklet, okay, and this is actually the booklet that we will be reading from, okay. The model composition that I'll be going through later will be from this book, okay. So for those who are interested, you guys can always scan the QR code to make the purchase, okay. I will be going through the contents that we have inside as well. It is $30, $29.90, okay. 29.90, but it is not a thin book, okay. I'm just saying that it's a few pages, it's not a few pages, okay. I'll show you guys the contents page in a bit, but for now you guys can take a look. This is the cover page. This is the cover page, and you guys can make the purchase over here, or you guys can make the purchase on Podia by yourselves, okay. You can just search Writers at Work Podia and you guys should be able to access it. All right, so over here I'm gonna introduce the contents page to you guys, okay. So what is in this book is a vocab list, and the vocab list is attached to every single model compositions, and of course the model composition itself, okay. So you can roughly see over here that it's going to be about 3 pages per chapter, okay. So Dumb and Dumber, it's 3 pages, and then Ramen Warrior, that's 3 pages, okay. So what actually is in these 3 pages is that it will be around 1 to 2 pages of the model composition and 1 to 2 pages of the vocab list, okay. So as you guys can see here, if you guys do the calculation, there is actually almost no filler pages inside. That means no blank pages, no nothing, all right. So this is just content. You're only purchasing content over here, okay. It's not like those big assessment books with a lot of filler pages. It's not that, all right. So you guys can see there are a lot of different chapters that we have here, okay. It has 25 PSLE compositions, and they are specially written to tackle challenging top school exam questions, okay. So every model composition is crafted with a unique twist and a realistic story plot based on true events or news, okay. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, you guys can always just let me know. And yeah. Yo, can I have a phone stand? There should be a phone stand because I don't have anywhere to place my phone. All right, but yes. All right, so you guys can take a look. I'm gonna show you guys the vocab list really soon. But what is the great thing about the vocab list is that you can actually collate it to make it a vocab bank, okay. Now what is a vocab bank? Okay, we always tell our students here at Writers at Work that it's so important to have a vocab bank. When you have a vocab bank, you can always have that easy reference when you're writing a composition, okay. Whether it be you suddenly can't think of a certain word, or you just want something to level up, to elevate your composition, and it's just there, right. Some students might be struggling to create no, that's okay, it's okay. Some students might be struggling to make that to have that additional vocab bank, okay, and that's completely understandable, okay. However, it is so important to have one, and that's why we have this vocab list here so that you guys can make it yourselves, all right. Yeah, all right, so you guys can take a look at it. All right, so you guys can take a look at this. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, now inside, this is what the format is roughly going to be like. You have the model composition itself and then the vocab list. Okay, so you guys can see it over here. This is the vocab list. It will look roughly like this. Okay, and of course, then we will have the model composition itself. Okay, which is gonna look something like this. Okay, with like some bolded words for your reference. All right. Okay, so it will be in this kind of format. Okay, so you guys can see over here. Okay, and then of course we have the O level booklet. Okay, we'll hold certain booklets. Okay, there we go. Sorry, a bit of buffer. All right. Okay, now for the O-level English model essay, we have the target the practice. It is target the practice. It will be 2016 to 2022 O-level, and it's a comprehensive question analysis. Okay, so you guys should be able to see it over here. Okay, and it has effective learning strategies inside. Okay, these are two of my absolute favorites when it comes to compo writing. Okay, because they not only help you and make sure you're always on track, but it also makes sure that you are always on top of your learning. It makes sure that you're always in a train of thought that will be beneficial to, for your writing. Okay, so okay, I'm going to show you guys a bit of what I mean. All right. Okay, for the essay question analysis, we have something like this. Okay, how helpful is this ebook? Okay, you're asking me personally. I would say that it is very helpful and for a variety of reasons. Okay, now when it comes to this ebook, number one, it is for students who are struggling to build that vocab bank. Okay, because each of these two ebooks I'm going through, they all have their own vocab list, meaning that students can just consolidate them and then have their own vocab bank, so they don't have to spend time. Okay, now, this ebook is there to make sure that students are able to have their effective learning, especially since we're so close to exam season. Okay, we really want to make sure that students are making the most use of their time, the most effective use of their time. Okay, and I understand that it is very helpful to build your own vocab booklet or bank from scratch, but some students are struggling with that, and we want to make sure they're making the most of their time. So we have this especially for them, okay? And of course, students always need that consolidation right before exam season, and this is exactly what this is where they can get it. All right, so we have essay question analysis. This is for the O levels. You guys can see it over here. It shows you how to break down the question, and after going through chapters like this, by the end of the book, you should be able to do this instinctively when you enter the exam. Okay, so it is definitely beneficial. Okay, I'm gonna go through this really quickly. Okay, you guys can see over here, I realized I'm so much stronger than I had previously thought right about the time that you felt like this. Okay, so it's a 3-point breakdown. Okay, number one is the essay question joiner. Okay, we have to break this down. What is it? Okay, and over here we can see it's a narrative essay. Okay, and these are all things that are super important because narrative essays are so different from argumentative essays. Okay, so to have this instinctive question breakdown in your own head is so important over here. Okay, and point two is keywords to note. Okay, it's always so important to note down certain keywords, especially when you're writing an essay or there is a certain question that is not as straightforward. Like over here, realize does show that there is a certain event, a change that causes to revoke the presumption you had over yourself. Okay, we can also know that from the word previously, it shows that there is a change, there is a certain contrast. All right, and then finally we have B. Okay, B, the word is stronger, which means could be physically or mentally or even something more abstract. Okay, this question is not as direct, so this kind of question analysis is super important. All right, and then this is one of my personal favorites. I always say this to students that it's so important to be exposed to exam study tips. All right, it can really elevate your study routine. It can make your studying more efficient, and I'm not just saying for English alone, but across subjects. Okay, for over here we are talking about spaced repetition. Okay, spaced repetition, for those who don't know, is a method that requires you to review material at systematic intervals. Okay, I'm going to read from here so that you guys can see. Okay, so essentially the more you encounter certain bits of information, the less information you will need to refresh your memory of it. Okay, so instead of leaving all your revision to the last minute, just 30 minutes of revision every single day for long periods of time will help you to retain memory much more easily. Okay, and the best thing about this, it also shows you not exactly what exactly what it is, but it also shows you how you can go about doing it. Over here we have 3 points, which is number one, review your material. Okay, so within 20 to 24 hours of initial intake of information, students will have to review them again for short-term retention. Okay, when you review the content, you want to read them and then look away and try to recall important points. Okay, so essentially what this book does is it's training you. Okay, and over here with spaced repetition, it's showing you that it is so much more about testing yourself, challenging yourself. And you can see from point two, recall. After a day, try recalling the information again, this time without referring to your note. Okay, so it gets harder as you go on. Okay, but it's always about testing your brain on the same information to make sure that you are aware of certain changes, or making sure that you're always aware that you're getting all the details in place. All right. Number three is recall again. Recall the material every 2 to 3 days over the course of a week. This will then ensure your brain is constantly refreshed with the content and commit to long-term memory. Okay, long-term memory and short-term memory are different. Okay, and these are all things that are so important for students to realize at a young age. I always tell my story that personally I feel like one of my regrets when it comes to studying is realizing these kind of study tips way too late. Okay, everyone works well with different study tips. Everyone has a different learning style, and I feel so it's a regret that I realized mine way too late. I personally am an auditory and visual learner, but I did not know that. Okay, so I feel like I have been wasting a lot of time previously with my studies, like not truly understanding and learning in the most optimal way. Okay, so again, this book does give you the exposure when it comes to learning styles, and that's why I highly recommend it. All right, over here we also have this, you can see it over here. It's the model composition itself. Okay, it's not short, it is a full model composition. Okay, we're not just giving you half. Okay, and this is our vocab list. Okay, so these are all topic specific language. Okay, we want to teach students how to build and learn how to use superior vocab when writing O-level essays. Okay, again, with O-level essays, writing with strong vocab can make you sound more informative, can make you sound more engaging, and that is the same whether you're talking about vocab, whether you're talking about oral exams or composition act. Okay, so these are all super important. I'm going to show you guys the contents page. All right, so as you guys can see here, this is the O-level English essay for those who just came in, O-level model English model essays for those who just came in. All right, so over here you guys can see that we have 8 questions over here. All right, this is our contents page, and you guys can see actually by reading the questions that this is not just one type of questions. We're not only just teaching one type of questions and then just, you know, this is we have a variety of questions. I'm going to read out 3 questions so that you guys can see the difference. All right, 1, some people enjoy being in a crowded place, while others prefer somewhere quieter with fewer people. Describe your perfect place where you want to relax. Number 2, I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought. Write about a time where you felt like this. And number 3, young people spend so much time thinking about the future that they forgot to enjoy the present. How far do you agree? Okay, so these 3 questions are so different. Question 1 is so distinctly a description. Okay, it requires you to describe something. It requires you to use strong vocab to paint a beautiful picture. All right, whereas number 2 is more about breaking down the question and writing a narrative. Okay, I realized that was so much stronger. So like I mentioned before, strength as in mentally or strength as in physically. Okay, so have you been fighting something traumatic and you feel like you became more mentally resilient? Or did you lift weights every single day and then you now feel like you can lift twice your body weight? Would you say the book is extensive in terms of topics? Okay, now when it comes to these books, we do cover a lot of different topics. Okay, I will be showing you guys the PSLE one again so that you guys can have an understanding. But now that we're on the contents page over here, we do have a lot of different topics and a lot of different question types that we answer. Okay, so I would say it's pretty comprehensive. Okay, so you guys can see it over here. And the last question, question 3 is argumentative. So you guys can see that we are addressing a lot of different question types. We're definitely not just teaching students one type of topic and then letting them, fend for themselves. That's definitely not the case. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys the O level again since you guys asked. Okay, this is the O level contents page, so you guys can take a look at that. Okay, so you can definitely see, okay, now each model composition is crafted with a unique twist and it is based on true events or news. Okay, so everything is different. Okay, we're talking about a lot of different topics, a lot of different teams: Dumb and Dumber, Ramen War, Decision Dilemma, Grandpa's Secret, Pinky Promise. Okay, so there are a lot of different teams that will be talked about in this booklet alone. Okay, and for these $29.90, you will be purchasing 25 PSLE model compositions, including a model composition and a vocab bank. Okay, so definitely super valuable. And when it comes to the ebook itself, the O-level ebook, you guys can see over here that we are definitely talking about a lot of different question types. It's not just one question type. So this is $26.90 over here. So you guys can see you guys are not purchasing a very thin book. Okay, you're purchasing something with a lot of different features. And when it comes to this O-level ebook, you have 4 different features over here. So you're purchasing these 4 different features: targeted preparation, comprehensive question analysis, effective learning strategies, and topic-specific language. Okay, like I mentioned before, these are all beneficial to you in their own way. These are all super important in their own way. Okay, now when it comes to topic specific language, this is so important because it can make you sound so much more engaging, sound so much more informative. Okay, whether you're talking about the O-level essay, you're talking about the composition, you're talking about the oral, or you're just talking about in general in your work life, it is so important that you're able to express yourself in a way that people feel like you're engaging, you're informative. Okay, and this is definitely something that we're trying to build over here. Okay, I will be going through the PSLE paper so that you guys can have a better understanding of how you can annotate it to your own benefit, how you can study it in your own free time, and finally, when it comes to this O-level booklet, how we actually teach over here, right? So you guys can take the chance to learn. Okay, over here we have the QR code. Okay, you guys can make the purchase directly from here. You guys can scan the QR code, or you could go on our Podia and check out our entire ebook collection. We have a lot more than just these 2 ebooks. We're just going through these 2 ebooks today. Okay, you guys can always check online. Hi, Monkey. Thank you so much for the live, not for the live, for the likes, everyone. All right, so definitely do let us know if you have any questions. Sorry, can I screenshot the QR code? Definitely. All right, I will let you screenshot. There we go. All right. I will show you the PSLE one in a bit. All right, and now I'm going to show you the PSLE one. Okay, you can screenshot this one as well. Okay, but do remember that we actually have a lot of other different model essays. A lot of them are ebooks, I mean. Okay, you can search them all up on our Podia. You can just search Writers at Work, Podia, and it should come up. Okay, but of course, let us know that if you are facing any issues, there is the service button below right here. It's the orange button with the white arrow. You can always just let us know right there. Type in the comment section, or you can just WhatsApp the number. Okay, you can see the WhatsApp over here is 8404-9281. All right, do let us know if you have any questions. Okay, so I will now be moving on to the PSLE Compo Reading. Okay, so for those who are waiting, thank you so much for waiting. We're gonna be there now. Okay, sorry, your page says vol 1 is not for sale. Okay, I'll let the moderator get back to you on that. Okay, if you type in the chat and let them know. All right. Okay, so I'll let the moderator get back to you. I'll let our team get back to you as well. Okay, so yeah. All right, so right now we are a bit pressed for time, so I will be moving directly onto the PSLE model reading. Okay, model composition reading. Okay. In that meantime, you can text the moderator via the chat. Okay. He's reading right now. Okay. He will get back to you in a bit. Okay. Now, okay, let me adjust. Okay, we are. I think you can reply directly in the chat because the last time Jason replied via the thing, they weren't able to see it. Ah, okay, sure. Okay. Now I'm going to highlight certain things over here so everyone you can just stay with me. Okay. Okay, now I do want to highlight the importance of detail and progress. Okay, we always go through that. Okay, I always go through that when we are doing this composition because it's so important that we have that balance. Okay, like I mentioned before, too much progress can make your story sound very bland. Okay, so that means you're always just progressing your story, but nothing. There is no picture. Okay, the readers know what's going on, but they don't see the picture in their head. Or let's say there is too much detail, you're not going to be able to finish your story because you're not moving the story along. And ultimately, progress is something that can link your story to the main idea that is required of you when it comes to the question. Okay, so definitely there has to be a balance between the two, and I'm about to show you how you can do that and how this is shown in this composition. Okay, so you guys can do this when you guys have purchased your own ebook. Okay, and yeah, you guys can make that purchase and then you guys can also annotate along with me. Okay, but also I do want to let you guys know that it is a thing that sometimes certain paragraphs are more prone to more progress or more detail. Okay, that is normal. Okay, when you're talking about introductions, it's okay that you're having more detail because that's your opening, you're setting the scene. It's normal that you're having more detail over there. And with your rising action, you're transitioning between two paragraphs. You're transitioning from a very calm, very detail orientated paragraph to something that is very more action packed. Okay, so it's very normal for you to be using more progress in your rising action. Okay, so definitely it is different that way, but always try to keep as much balance as you can. All right, so let's read it together and I will highlight accordingly. Detail will be in yellow and progress will be in blue, and where blue and yellow intersect, you know that that sentence has both detail and progress. All right. Okay, I sniffed cheerily as I tugged at brother's sleeve with a trembling hand. Okay, this is something that sets the scene and at the same time it shows us exactly how she's feeling. So I'm gonna put that down as both yellow and blue. Can everyone see the color that I'm? Okay, it's a bit light. Oh, that's a bit too much. Okay, I'm also gonna highlight it in blue. Okay, I'm sorry, brother. I swear it was an accident. I'm sorry. I cried plaintively. Okay, so this is something that it's detail. The dialogue paints a better picture because it has a bit of audio. It adds that audio to the writing. However, okay, however, the end was I cried plaintively. It does show that she is upset and she's in a state where she's crying, okay, or that she is just very distressed. All right. Okay, I think I'm gonna read the rest of the paragraph, and then after we're gonna highlight it bit by bit, okay, so that we're not always cutting each other off. All right. Brother did not even look in my direction as he yanked his sleeve out of my hand and stalked away. I trailed behind him, repeating my apology like a broken recorder. No matter how much I apologized, brother refused to acknowledge my existence. I felt like I was being sliced into ribbons, the deadly silence that he wielded cutting me deep with every failed apology. I had never seen brother so furious in my life, and I did not know how to put an end to this silent treatment. Fixing my eyes on Kiki, the family cat, tweening itself apologetically around my legs, the memory of what caused this silent treatment started replaying in my mind. All right, so definitely it is a bit of, it links to a memory. Okay, I'm gonna highlight that as, I'm gonna put that as well. Okay, um, okay. So I'm gonna write here at the side. I'm gonna zoom out so you guys can see better. I wrote start of flashback. Okay, and that's exactly what it is the start of a flashback. Okay, and that's something that's so valuable for students who are struggling to write a good composition with start of flashback. Okay, you might be getting notes from your teacher, but you don't actually understand how to insert those kind of ideas that your teacher is giving you into your story. It is always great to have a model composition to model off, because in this way you can always be sure that you were doing it right. Okay, so over here you can see this is how they're setting the flashback. I'm gonna highlight this part in, actually going to bracket it in red. Okay, so you guys have an idea. Okay, the memory of what had caused the silent treatment started, oh goodness me, started replaying in my mind. Okay, so you guys can see over here that this is something that transitions. Okay, this is something that transitions. Okay, now I'm gonna highlight it. Everyone, please join me if you guys have the copy. Okay, I cried plaintively. Brother did not even look in my direction as he yanked his sleeve out of my hand and stalked away. Okay, okay, this does show how angry brother is and what is going on. So I would say it does move the story along, that there is an attempt to try and help to what's this? Okay, I'm currently going through this PSLE composition. Okay, this PSLE model composition is from our ebook online. Okay, you can make that purchase. Okay, and join me when it comes to annotating this. All right. All right, so I'm currently going through this. I'm not only going through vocab, I'm going through structure, as well as I'm going through how to express yourself and your composition in a way that creates balance. All right, so I'm going through all these different things, but definitely do let me know if you have any questions. We can go through any specific issues that you might have. All right, I previously went through some students had issues with writing introductions. Okay, when it comes to introductions, there are a lot of different ways to start a story, and we actually previously went through that, and I can always do it again. Okay, we also went through how to end off a story in a way that engages your audience, in a way that has a very nice unabrupt ending. It just closes the story in a way that is very satisfying. All right, so these are all things that we can work on together. Okay, I invite my students to always like tell me if there's anything in particular that they have heard from a teacher, like certain comments. If the teacher says that they have a weak climax or they're off topic or something, these are all things that we can work on together. Okay, so you can always let me know if you face any of these issues, and we can deal with them together. All right, but for now, I'm reading through this composition. Okay, and I will be highlighting the nice vocab phrases, the word choices, as well as the balance between progress and detail. Okay, so please join me at doing that. Okay, brother did not even look in my direction. Okay, so and then he stalked away. Okay, so he's angry, but at the same time, I'm gonna put this in yellow. I'm gonna put plaintively in yellow. I'm gonna put not even look in my direction in yellow. Okay, because it's an additional bit of information that serves more as detail. Okay, he yanked. Okay, I love this word choice because he's not just pulling it out. You're welcome, Kate. It's not just pulling it out of his hand, out of your hand. He is yanking. Okay, it shows his aggressiveness. It shows how angry he is. Okay, these are all word choices that can frame your composition, that can add that additional detail to your composition. Okay, when it comes to composition, detail does not always have to be in the form of sentences. Okay, it does not have to be a long paragraph. Okay, it can be word choices. Word choices add such a different, it adds additional meaning because each word has some subtle differences inside that can add to your composition. Okay, like over here, you can see I trailed behind him. When you say trail, it's almost as if she doesn't dare to walk beside him. She only dares to follow him, and the word choice is trail and not follow. So it shows that she's not confident even when she follows him. She is just lagging behind him. Okay, these are all things that you can see from small word choices like this. And then over here you can say he stalked away. Okay, he's walking very in a very determined way. He is not he if the word says brother did not even look in my direction as he yanked his sleeve out of my hand and walked away, it does not have the same impact as if he stalked away. Okay, when he stalks away, he shows his anger and his determination. He's so angry that he does not even want to care about her. Okay, that's very, very different. Walking is way too casual in this scene, and that's why we always have to prioritize our word choices. Okay, I trailed behind. I'm gonna put this as blue, because the thing about this is that it shows that there is a certain back and forth. Okay, it's not that he refuses her apology once and then suddenly she does something and they reconcile. It's not that. There is a lot of back and forth. Okay, and I want to highlight that. Okay, but repeating my apology like a broken recorder is an additional information that adds another layer to the story, but it does not necessarily bring it forward. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one in yellow. Okay, no matter how much I apologize, brother refused to acknowledge my existence. Okay, blue. Okay, I felt like I was being sliced into ribbons, deadly silence that he wielded, cutting me deep with every failed apology. Okay, I love this one. I'm gonna put it as yellow because it not necessarily brings the story forward, but it shows the readers how intensely pissed the brother is and how intensely sad the author is. Okay, so I really want to highlight these few, put some emphasis on these few words, and I'm gonna circle them in red. Okay, for your reference. Okay, felt like it's being sliced into ribbons. Build it. Okay, I love this word, this one in particular. Okay, because when you use this word, you usually use it in reference of a sword. Okay, but the fact that she is using it here, it's almost as if saying that the deadly silence was so sharp and it was so hurtful that it's like a sword that someone is cutting her with it. Okay, so it really does add that extra effect. Okay, the word choices that you use can really change the direction of your story. It can really dictate where how your readers perceive your story and how much they engage with your story. Okay, I will link to another part in the story. Okay, we'll get to that in a bit, but there are certain word choices in this composition that I find really make you pause for a second, make you think. Okay, this is something that can really help readers to engage, and you can do that by yourself by showing and not telling. Okay, so you don't have to say something explicitly, you can give a hint at it and let the readers guess. That slight pause that they have can really change the way they perceive your story, the way they view engagement in your story. Okay, these are all things that that you can add to in your story. All right. Okay, I have never seen brothers so furious. Okay, I'm gonna put this down as blue because it is something that adds context to the story. Why is she so scared? The reason is I have never seen brothers so furious. So it's context, it adds context. So I'm gonna put it as blue because it does move it forward as well. Context at the basis, it adds the basis for progress. Okay, in my life, and I did not know how to put an end to the silent treatment. Okay, but what I'm also going to put in yellow is so furious in my life. Okay, fixing my eyes on Kiki. Okay, again, I'm going to circle this in yellow, in red, sorry. Because she could just say that I looked at Kiki, but she fixed her eyes on Kiki. It's like saying that she is moving her eyesight and locking in on the cat. Okay, so it does show it does give us a bit more insight on into how the action actually goes. Okay, fixing my eyes on Kiki. Okay, I'm gonna put this in yellow. Okay, now I like this scene. Okay, it's a bit it doesn't really add that much to the story, well, in terms of progress, but it adds so much depth to it in detail. Okay, because we look at it over here, tweeting itself apologetically around my legs, especially since we're talking about that the fact that she made a certain mistake. It makes the reader wonder that does the cat have something to do with it? Did the cat do anything? Or is the cat just mirroring how upset she is? Okay, it's these kind of questions that pass through the reader's head that actually adds the level of sophistication to your story. Okay, so definitely if you're asked to show not tell or you struggle with that, you can definitely reference this composition or look through compositions like this and note down related sentences. All right. Okay, now the memory of what caused this played through my mind. This is blue because it transitions to the rising action, the main body of the story. Okay, okay. So you guys can see over here, there's more yellow than blue over here, a little bit more. Okay, that is normal because it's the introduction. We're setting the scene, so it's completely fine. Okay, you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. You just have to make sure that the blue and yellow, and when you are writing your own composition, the detail and progress are mostly balanced. Okay, it doesn't have to be completely balanced. All right. Throwing the door of the brother's room open in a flourish, I bounded inside and flung myself onto his bed. Just as I was starting to drift off to sleep, he came shrieking into the room like a comet, okay? Jerking awake, I called out to it, but something had caught its eye. Its favorite toy was sitting on top of brother's desk. Kiki gleefully clawed its way up to it without hesitation before scampering away with it in its mouth. Suddenly, I saw a piece of calligraphy paper fluttering in the air as it drifted onto the floor. Shock pierced my heart, a foreboding chill running down my spine. I turned my head towards brother's desk, dread slowing time down. My breath caught in my throat at the horrifying sight. Brother's Chinese calligraphy said that he had spent weeks preparing for his direct school admission. DSA portfolio had been ripped to shreds by Kiki's claws. My lips parted in a silent scream, panic coursing through my veins. I knew how close the deadline was for the portfolio submission. Before I could do anything to salvage the situation, brother appeared. He took one look at his destroyed masterpiece and my guilty expression before kicking me out. Okay. So there's a lot of progress. And just by reading it, I can already imagine that there's going to be a lot more blue than yellow over here. And that's fine. Okay. Okay, let's highlight. Throwing the door open and flourish. Okay, she's entering the room. I bounded inside and flung myself onto his bed. Okay. I'm gonna highlight this in yellow as well because I really like the idea that she's not opening the door, she's throwing the door open. She's not pushing the door open slightly, she's throwing it out. Okay, it shows that as a character, she's not very graceful. She is someone that is very tomboyish, someone that is very active, someone that's very aggressive, all right? So that really adds that contrast to her sadness and her lack of energy, just remorse when she's talking to her brother. Okay, so that contrast really does have that extra effect. Okay, I bounded inside and flung myself onto his bed. Okay, when you say that someone's bounding inside, okay, you're not saying that someone's just walking inside. You can imagine someone that's very aggressive, someone that is very hyper. Okay, someone is just rushing inside. Okay, and flung myself onto his bed. Okay, just as I was starting to drift off to sleep. That's a bit extra information that paints a picture but does not move the story forward. Kiki came shrieking into the room. Okay, that is blue. Okay, so we roughly at this point have an idea that Kiki might be the culprit. Okay, because Kiki is very, very aggressive. Okay. Okay, but I'm gonna put this in yellow like a comment. Okay, Kiki came shrieking into the room. It doesn't really matter how she came into the room. No, it does matter, but I mean, like, when it comes to the simile, this adds some extra effect to the story. Okay, Kiki came shrieking. I really like that. She's not just running, she's shrieking. It's like a shriek of light. All right, and over here we have, oh goodness me, all right, like a comment. Okay, so she's really coming in at a very high speed. Hi, Yu Hao. And jerking awake, I called out to it, but something had caught its eye. So there's that sense of premonition. Okay, the way that she's not saying that Kiki looks at something, but something caught its eye. It brings that sense of premonition that something bad is going to happen. All right, so really like this, and in fact I am going to put a little star here so you guys can understand what a bit of foreshadowing looks like in a composition. Hi, Yu Hao. Is there any question that you might have? Okay, I understand that you're primary 3 this year, but it is also possible for you to learn from a primary 6 composition. Okay, you can learn a lot of vocab and structure from this composition. Okay, so I will definitely invite you to stay in the room and learn with us. Okay, but definitely if there's anything that you are struggling with in school, like use of vocab, structure, or you can always let me know and I will do my best to answer your questions. All right, you can let me know. Okay, and this ebook is on our Podia website, so this is the one that I'm using right now, so you guys can always make that purchase right now. All right, over here we see I had its favorite toy. Okay, we're talking about Kiki's favorite toy. Okay, its favorite toy was sitting on top of brother's desk. It's that context that we know why Kiki's bonding, why Kiki's so excessively excited. He gleefully clawed. Okay, I love that. Okay. Before it's okay, so I'm gonna highlight this first. Kiki gleefully clawed. Okay. Okay, so Kiki is not just climbing, he's clawing. So we can imagine how Kiki is doing this climbing scene with her claws dug straight into the cupboard, okay, or the desk in this case, okay, without hesitation. There is no waiting. Kiki is just there. She is active. She is out to get what she wants. Okay, scampering away. You can imagine when you're saying that someone scampers away, you're thinking of someone that's more like a rascal. You're not thinking of someone that's very nice, very obedient as a person. You're thinking of someone who's very childish, someone that's a rascal. Okay, so definitely the word scampering away is an incredibly smart word choice. Okay, suddenly I saw a piece of calligraphy paper fluttering in the air. Okay, as it drifted to the floor. I'm gonna highlight that in blue, okay, because it is that's something that creates that suspense and moves the story along. Okay, fluttering to the air and drifting to the floor. I'm also gonna put that under detail because it is a bit extra, but it does paint a beautiful picture. It does show us that something is going on, and the word choices like the word fluttering, it does add to that sense of premonition. Okay, so I would really say that it's detail. Okay, shock pierced my heart. Okay, this is emotion. Okay, when it comes to very important emotions that make a certain mark in the story, like let's say something changes drastically because of her anger, you can elaborate more on the anger. Like in this case, something changes because of her fear. So her fear marks something in the story. Over here, her shock. So you can definitely elaborate. Like she says, shock pierced my heart, a foreboding chill running down my spine. Okay, so I really love that. Okay. Okay, so I think if we have time the next session, I will definitely do something extra with you guys, which is we can do this thing where we highlight the best phrases and the best descriptions of emotions and we write our own. Okay, we can do that the next class. Okay, so do join me over here as we finish this composition. All right. I turned my head towards brother's desk. Okay, so a lot of things are happening. It's happening in immediately one after the other. Stalling time. Okay, I'll see this is more yellow, so I'll put this as blue. My breath caught in my throat at the horrifying sight. Okay. Brother's Chinese calligraphy said that he had spent weeks preparing for his direct school mission. Portfolio had been ripped to shreds by Kiki's claws. Okay, so this is definitely something that adds context to the story. So it's so important that it is highlighted in blue. Okay, Drit slowing time down. It really has that impact. So I'm gonna put it in yellow. But you guys can see by this moment of time that there's a lot more blue than yellow. The blue is a lot more chunky than the yellow, and it definitely proves the fact that maybe in the rising action there is a lot more that's going on when you're moving from one paragraph to the other. So it's completely normal for this to happen. All right, my lips parted in a silent scream. Okay, shows her fear. It really, really shows her fear. Okay, but I also put this under a bit of blue actually because it highlights her fear. It does not directly or very explicitly say her fear, but it does add to the story. Okay, I knew how close. Okay, context again. Deadline. That's why he's so angry. Before I could do anything to salvage the situation, brother appeared. Okay, so definitely I'm gonna highlight this word salvage in yellow as well because this word is used so much in war, in like war scenes. Like let's say he could not do anything to salvage the situation um when he saw the mess that was made by the enemy. Okay, so it's a bit like war. Okay, so it really shows the extent of the situation. He took one look at his destroyed masterpiece and my guilty expression and threw me out of his room and kicked me out of his room. Okay, so I will put blue, sorry. Okay, definitely. Okay, and I would say there's transitions out of memory because you can see the next part we are back right where this story started. So this is a transitions. Oh goodness. Transitions out of memory. Okay. Meow, Kiki mewed as it fixed its round orbs on me, snapping me out of the nightmare. I tried to apologize to brother once more. He slammed the door in my face. Okay? Tears rolled down my cheeks, my lips quivering as I stared at the closed door. Slumping against his door, I waited for him to come out. However, the door remained shut, even when our parents attempted to mediate. I knew I was going to do something. I knew I had to do something to show the sincerity in my apology. This time, mere words were not going to cut it. All right? Okay, this is the exact part that I would like to highlight to everyone. Okay, I'm gonna highlight it. I'm gonna circle it in red. Okay, this is something that I would say means shall not tell. Okay, because this is something, this place where Kiki looked at her. So there are definitely other options, but this author choose to write fix its round orbs on me. Okay, now what other options could he have put? He could have put he mute as it looked at me, snapping me out of the nightmare. Okay, but that would not have the same effect. Because right now when he says fix its round orbs on me, I have to take that one split second to actually think round orbs. Oh, it's eyes on me. Okay, makes sense. So it's really that show not tell, and that pause truly makes me engage with the story. It makes me feel like I have to think a little bit of the story, and when I'm thinking, I'm becoming more and more associated with the story. So it's definitely something that helps with engagement. All right, Kiki mute. I really would put this in yellow. To fix this round orbs on me, snapping me out. Okay, and when she's snapping me out of this nightmare, this is where it is transition. Okay, I tried to apologize to brother once more. He slammed the door in my face. He slammed the door in my face. Okay, so there's that back and forth again. Tears rolled down my cheeks. Okay, again, she's very, very upset. We can elaborate more on these kind of emotions. Tears rolled down my cheeks, my lips quivering as I stared at the closed door. Okay, definitely she's so upset, and we can see the slumping. I'm gonna put that in yellow. Blue slumping against his door. I waited for him to come out. Okay, so there is that really where she's waiting for him. She really hopes that he forgives her. Okay, however, the door remains shut even when our parents attempt to mediate. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna put them in blue, and I'm gonna put mediate in yellow. Okay. There's really that back and forth, and I really like the word slumping, because when you say slumping, it shows that she's not just sitting at his door, she's actually like almost turned liquid by his door. She is so upset, she's given up, she feels so hopeless that these feelings have manifested in a almost lifeless body, like she's in a slump, the word itself. Okay, so definitely it is a very, I would say, very wise word choice. Okay. Okay, I knew I had to do something to show the sincerity in my apology. Okay, this time mere words were not gonna cut it. Okay, this time mere words were not gonna cut it. But I'm gonna also highlight this in yellow. Mere words were not gonna cut it because it's like an idiom. I really do like it, and I like the fact that it links back to the start. I'm not gonna cut it, but the fact that, wait, let's see where it is. Okay, the deadly silence that he wielded, cutting me deep with every field apology. So there's a lot of, there's that motif where this idea of cutting is always there. Okay, so it shows that they have both hurt each other a lot. Okay. Okay. Oh goodness. Okay, determined to convince brother to accept my apology, I headed to my room, brother's old calligraphy tools in hand. Okay, again, a lot of progress. Shutting myself in my room, I got to work recreating brother's old calligraphy set. Brother's Chinese calligraphy set. Okay, 1 hour passed. 2, 3. I was burning the midnight oil. Okay, I'm gonna put this in both yellow and blue. Okay, I'm gonna put this in yellow because this part is detail. Okay, now no special words were used, so why am I saying it's detail? Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, I'm just saying what I think students might be thinking. Now, one of the things about detail is that it does not always have to be written in words. It does not always have to be written in sentences either. Okay, so it can be written in structure, and in this case, you're saying 1 hour past 2, 3. She's not doing anything in these hours except trying to remake this calligraphy set that that belonged to her brother. All right, so it is showing how fast this time moves. Okay, so she's spending a lot of time and there's nothing going on other than that. Okay, so it really shows that 1 hour passed, 2, 3, there's nothing on at that, and that is something that is reflected through the structure. All right, I was burning the midnight oil, calligraphy ink smudged all over my face and hands. Comfort pieces. Okay, it does not necessarily bring the story forward, but it does show how dedicated she is to actually apologizing. Okay, because she does say here, I knew how to show the sincerity in my apology. This time your words were not going to cut it. And this is something that links to the title of the story, and the title of the story is Actions Speak Louder Than Words. All right, so this is definitely something that links to that. Okay, and it's so important that throughout your story you're constantly linking back to your main title, or you're constantly linking back to the main idea. Okay, these are things that can really bring your story forward. All right. Okay, every painstaking brushstroke was an apology given form. I love that because it says that actions speak louder than words. So she's actually giving form to words. Okay, this is words. She's not just apologizing, she's giving it form. Okay, she's making an action. Okay, I really like that. So I'm gonna put that in both blue and yellow. Okay, every crumpled piece of paper an indication of my sincerity. Yellow as well. Perhaps it was because I was a left-hander. Perhaps my skills were simply much more inferior compared to brother. Okay, so it really shows that she's not actually succeeding, but she's trying and she's struggling. Okay, shows how upset she is, but that she's trying. So you can see over here that there is a lot more. I would say there's a lot more crossover between blue and yellow. There's a lot more balance, okay? And that's because we're already in the body paragraph, okay? Regardless of the reason, try as I might, okay? I'll say regardless of the reason is more of a description. And then try as I might, my Chinese calligraphy was simply incomparable to that of brothers, okay? So it's definitely a lot of moving the story forward now. My left hand was trembling from exhaustion as it gripped the calligraphy brush tightly, the muscles in my fingers screaming out in pain, okay? Still, I did not give up. How could I when my mistake could affect my brother's DSA? Okay, okay. So it ends with a question. It shows that she did try. It's almost rhetorical because she says, "How could I?" Oh, so it's like saying she did not give up. It's like almost repeating this over here. Okay. Rubbing my blurry eyes the next morning, I stared at my most decent replica of Brother's work thus far, praying that this would convince Brother to accept my apology and help him out with his DSA portfolio. I carefully picked up the Chinese calligraphy set after cleaning up my hands in Industrious room. Sleeping inside, I presented the Chinese calligraphy set to him as I swallowed nervously. Brother, I'm really sorry. I did this for you to make up for what I had destroyed. Would you forgive me? I asked, trying to hide the quaver in my voice. I stared at the floor, personally unable to look him in the eye. Will he accept my apology this time? After a few seconds, I heard him sigh. Tensing up, I mentally held my shields up, preparing for yet another rejection. Suddenly, Brother patted me on my head. Startled, I looked up at him to see a smile on his face. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight this. And blue. And yellow, actually. And then I'm gonna highlight it in blue as well. It showed because this shows that it's already the next morning. She is not continuously writing till the next morning. What book is this? Okay, this is the PSLE model composition book. I will show you guys right now. This is the one. This is the one that I'm currently going through to give everyone an idea of what's inside as well as what you can do when you do get the book. Okay, so you guys can make the purchase right here, or you guys can look at our other selection on our Podia account. You guys can just search Writers at Work Podia and you should be able to see the whole selection as well as some bundle sales that we have available. Okay, so you guys can take a look at that. Okay, so with this booklet we have 25 compositions inside. So we are currently going through one of them, okay? I'm showing you what you can do if you do purchase the book, how you can edit it, okay? Do note that each model composition does come with a vocab list, okay? And by the end of this, you should have quite a lot of vocab lists, so around like 25. So you should be able to put them together to have a quite a comprehensive vocab bank, okay? So you won't have to make your own vocab bank if you buy this ebook. It's already done for you, all right? Let's go back to, ooh, okay. Okay, so you guys can see. Okay, you guys can see over here. Rubbing my blurry eyes this morning. Okay. Praying that this would convince Brother to accept my apology and help him out with his DSA portfolio. Okay, I'm gonna highlight all that I carefully picked up. So she's already thinking about going to his room. And dash to his room. Slipping inside. Okay, she's not walking inside, she's slipping inside. She's not, it shows that she's still not confident. These are word choices that can add such value because like this word slipping inside, it shows that she's not confident on what she's about to do. She's not confident that she does not confidently go into his room. She has to slip into his room. I presented the Chinese calligraphy set to him as I swallowed nervously. Brother, I'm really sorry for what I did. I'm really sorry. I did this to make up for what I had destroyed. Will you forgive me? I asked. Okay. I put this in yellow, trying to hide a quiver in my voice. It has had that value. I stared at the floor pertinently, unable to look him in the eye. Okay. So she's still unable to look him in the eye. Will he accept my apology this time? It's a very valid question. Okay. After a few seconds, I heard him sigh. So blue, it gives us that idea, even though they're not explicitly saying it, that she is going to be forgiven. Okay, tensing up, mentally hold my shields up. Okay, I'm going to put this in blue as well because it shows that she still is scared. Okay, and then I'm also going to put this in yellow because it does add the extra descriptions. Okay, and then I'm going to circle this in red because I really do like the word choices over here. The word tensing up, okay, it shows that she's actually tensing up. And yeah, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, suddenly brother patted me on the head. Startled, I looked up at him to see a smile on his face. Okay, my silly younger sister, thank you for making this for me. You must have stayed up all night to write this, judging by the eye bags under your eye and smudges all over your face. Clothes and face, am I right? Okay, so I'm also gonna put this in yellow because these are details. Okay, she's calling him silly. She's still sorry. Okay, so it does show that extra. It shows that he still sees her in a very endearing way, right? Am I right? And I forgive you. Okay, brother murmured as he laid my Chinese calligraphy set on his table. He puts it away because he cares more about her. I grinned at him, relief washing over me like a tidal wave. Tightly. Okay, now I want to add a bit of I do want to highlight this part. Okay, now the great thing about a model composition is that you can always use it in your own story. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Okay, if you're looking over here, make a mental note to never be so careless again. This line can be used in your own story. Okay, now what do I mean by this? Now, if I were to write, let's say something about me arguing with my mom, okay, and then I want to write a composition about it, I would write it this way. I would end it this way. Make a mental note. It could be a lesson. Never to be so impolite to my parents again. Or let's say if I lost my wallet, I could always write that make a mental note never to be so forgetful or careless again. Or you could say that she's making a mental note to be more vigilant / careful in the future. Okay, so there are definitely so many different ways that you can use a model composition like this. Okay, so right now I'm gonna go back to the booklet so that you guys can see it again. Okay, so again, for those who just came in, welcome. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this booklet again. Okay, now this booklet that we have, it's an e-booklet, okay? So you guys can purchase it online via the QR code or via Podia, okay? Now this is our PSLE model composition, and it is a brand new series of 25 PSLE compositions, and these are specially written to tackle challenging top school exam questions, okay? I do note that, okay? Now, every composition is crafted with a unique twist and a realistic story plot based on true events or news. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the contents page so you guys have a more better idea. So what I just went through was, if I'm not wrong, it was Dumb and Think. It was, let's see, where it was. Action speaks louder than words. Okay, page 63. Okay, however, this is the comprehensive contents page. Okay, so everything should be here. Okay, so now I do want to bring everyone's focus to the page numbers. So as you guys can see, each chapter is around 3 pages long. Okay, now what are you going to be getting in each chapter? Each chapter will have one model composition and a vocab list. Okay, the model composition itself could be 1 or 2 pages long, and so the vocab list. Okay, so it will make up roughly 3 pages. So by this calculation, everyone should be able to see from themselves just via the page number that there are almost no filler pages, and everything is just content. You are buying a book of content. You're not buying a book of a thin book with multiple filler pages. That is not what it is. This is $29.90 right now. Okay, you guys can take a look. Okay, you guys can see the brochure right above me. Okay, over here we also have the O-level English model essay. Okay, everyone can also take a look at that. Okay, we do have something for everyone. Okay, we understand that we have students from many different levels. Okay, so you can always let us know what you're looking for. Okay, we also have books for oral. We also have books for editing. Okay, you guys can always check all of that out on our Podia. Okay, this is the O-level model essay. It's $26.90. You guys can take a look. It's $26.90 right now. And right now, I'm going to show you the contents page. If you guys take a look over here, there are 8 questions here. Okay, roughly 5 to 6 pages in each chapter. And the thing about this is that we're not teaching just one type of question and just, calling it a day. That's not what it is. We are teaching you as many questions as we can. You guys should be able to see here that each question is different. You see question 1, it is more of a description. It requires you to describe a scene, okay, how pretty it is, how engaging it is. And then number 2, it's something that requires a bit more breakdown, and it's a narrative, okay, requires you to write about a certain time, a certain event that made you feel like this, okay. And finally, number 3, you can see that it is an argumentative essay, and it asks you at the end, how far do you agree? So your answer will be towards a large extent to a small extent, okay. So definitely we do not we're not trying to just give you guys a few questions and just call it a day. We are giving you as many as we can, okay. So you guys can see this 26.90 is definitely something that is worth it, okay. So what will this include? You guys can take a look. Let me show you. Okay, this is targeted preparation. It's 2016 to 2022 O level. Okay, now do take a look over here. We have comprehensive question analysis. Okay, you guys can see. Okay, so what we do, and it's actually one of my favorite, it's because it actually helps students to get into the mentality when they can break things down. Okay, we want to teach students how to break questions down instinctively, so that they can do that themselves during the exam. Okay, so by the end of this 8 chapters, you guys should all be able to do that. Okay, over here we do it via 3 points. You can see over here. First, we ask what is the essay question genre, and over here we can see it's a narrative essay. 2, what are the keywords to note? Okay, so it can be over here, it's realized, so there has to be a certain realization. It does hint at a bit of a contrast that something was not like this previously, and that you realize something happened. Okay, the word stronger, okay, when you see the word stronger, it could mean that it's physically or mentally. We talk about that quite a bit, okay. So when it comes to that, it's so important that you have to define what you're actually saying in the composition. what words, what specific definitions you're using, right? You can talk about why you had self-doubts about your capability and then explain in detail one particular situation that aided in regaining your confidence in your strength. Since strength can be either physical or mental strength, it would be good to cover both in your essay, okay? So these are all things that we talk about in this essay question analysis, and this is the kind of instinctive mentality that we want everyone to have. We want them to be in that kind of headspace, have that train of thought, so when they sit down and see this in the exam, they can break it down instantly by themselves. All right. Also, we also have effective learning strategies. Like I mentioned before, it is so important for students to be able to have exposure to this at a young age. Okay, so we definitely put an emphasis on this. Okay, over here we're talking about spaced repetition. You guys can read what spaced repetition is. Okay, this is definitely something that will be definitely beneficial to students, especially those in O levels, and we definitely want students to have that exposure. Okay, so we will have one of this in each chapter, so you guys can take a look. As well, we will have topic specific language. Now, what is topic specific language? Hi, which branch do you teach at? Okay, I currently only teach on TikTok over here. However, we do have a lot of different teachers. Love your teaching style. Thank you so much for the compliment. It means so much to me. Okay, we have a lot of teachers, and we do go through and introduce some of our teachers here. Okay, so you can always drop by and watch some of our teachers. Okay, yeah, we do go through that sometimes. All right, we usually do that from around 2:30 to 5:30. We always do that around that time. All right, but thank you so much, Shaf. I don't know how to pronounce your name. All right, thank you so much. But yeah, right now we have this ebook. Okay, so this ebook is also great for students to do that self-learning when they're at home. Okay, this is definitely one of the ebooks that we have vetted through and we made ourselves, so we're yeah, we're super confident when it comes to this. All right, this is the vocab bank and the topic specific language that we are giving students when they buy this ebook. Okay, it will be in every chapter and attached to the composition. Okay, as you guys can see here, it's all very topic specific language, and this is something that students can use through not only their composition but as well as their oral. Okay, so this is, I'm going to show you guys. Okay, so it roughly look like this. Okay, so definitely very value for money. Okay, now topic specific language is something that is so important because it really can allow students to feel like they are allow teachers to feel that the student is more engaging or the student is more informative about the subject they're talking about, and this is something that can really boost those grades that you know, maybe you want a bit of higher grades, and that's something that actually convinces the teacher that, you know, you deserve those grades and they want to help you to get those grades. All right, so definitely this is something to note. Okay, so once again, this is 2690. I'm going to show you guys the QR code. Okay, and yeah, we have reached the end of this live in particular. Okay, we will be going live again soon. Shaf, I hope to see you there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the live. All right, see you guys next time.